Welcome to another podcast, friends. Today I have a wonderful, wonderful guest, a fellow IDF reservist, veteran who has been fighting in this war. He has put in nearly 200 days of service on the front lines in Gaza, and has some very, very exciting and inspiring stories to tell. And that's why I have my good friend here, Yehuda. Which is also how to say a perfect name to go with this particular podcast, because we're going to talk about the Jewish people. We're going to talk about the Jewish people's fight both in this war, but also on social media. It's a multi-front war, not just with our enemies, but also on the information war. And so Yuda caught my eye. I've seen his stuff online, and I've seen the beautiful way that he expresses our heart, the warrior's heart, what we're fighting for, what this war is all about, contrary to a lot of the misinformation. Yuda, brother, thank you for being on the show. Um, Please give the people that are listening just a little bit of background about yourself, who you are, where you come from, and we'll dive into this episode, brother.
So first of all, thank you, and thank you for having me. So you know my name. I'm 38 years old. I was born in the Upper West Side of New York,
Mm,
Manhattan. My parents, Tzvi and Esther, decided to leave everything and to make a modern Lech Lecha, probably
mm,
the most important decision I never made for me. And they decided to move to Jerusalem, where I grew up in the Dati Leumi world. So for those who don't know, that phrase is the modern Orthodox Jerusalem, Bnei Akiva, light. That was my upbringing. I grew up in a beautiful neighborhood with secular, dati, religious, Zionist, middle class, upper class, lower class, everything. Am Israel, really.
mm,
In Shchunat Ramot, in Ramot neighborhood in Jerusalem.
mhm,
Um, After I finished my 12th year, I went to yeshiva for a year and a half. I know I don't look like a yeshiva boy, but I studied Torah, and I have to say it was probably one of the best years of my life in the yeshiva in Ma'ale Gilboa, where I was taught how to ask questions and not taught
mhm,
what to think. Um, and I owe that to my rabbis, my honest rabbis. Afterwards, I went to the army. I was in year and a half in the tanks corps. Me and the tanks are not good friends. I was claustrophobic. I needed to run and not to be in a tin. It just no connection, and due to stuff that happened to my leg, I left the tanks and I moved to Chavat HaShomer, which is a base that helps kids who come from a really um, problematic neighborhoods, kids who were in jail in a young age. Basically, the army gives them a last opportunity to be a part of society. And I was there, Rasap. I don't know how to say that in English, so I apologize. One of the
mhm,
most meaningful things I did in my life. And to cut a long story short, I studied political science and communication, what led me eventually to work at the Knesset. I was the political advisor for Yoaz Zendel for a short term. And honestly, I figured out what's going on in the Knesset, and my heart broke because I felt for the first time that the leaders I dreamt about when I was a kid and read about, Menachem Begin and Rabin Zichrono Livracha and Sharon, all these leaders, I didn't see that. I didn't see that in the Knesset anymore. But
mm,
in the last 3 years, I've been working for Peace of Mind, which is probably another privilege I had, like serving in the IDF. And in the last year, I've decided to move from defense to offense. I've decided to go after radical Islam in my way. I think they're
mhm,
ruining the world. I think that most of the world is petrified to call a spade a spade. I
mm.
think that 25 years after 3,000 people were burnt in the World Trade Center, in
Yeah,
the name of Allah, I think that the fact that there's a mayor now that we all know who he is scary. And I'm
yeah,
I'm done. I'm done protecting my Jewish identity and the wonderful state of Israel. We're not perfect, but what the world is doing to us is unfair, and I'm ready to fight. And it's time for the Jews to stand up, to speak loud, to speak strong, and me and my friends and my colleagues are now focused on the Jewish diaspora, who I think are suffering now. And I want them to know they have our backs and we're in it together. And that's it.
As far as where you served in the military, what unit are we talking about?
I'm, I am from the unit. I have to say it first in Hebrew out of respect to my people I fought with. Gdud 9215, Unit 9125, led by our platoon commander Gonen Desler, probably one of the bravest and modest men I ever met in my life. I had the privilege and honor to serve my country and my people between 200 days.
Yeah.
Um, I could honestly say that it's probably the toughest and most meaningful thing I have ever done, and I'm not sure I'll ever do something as meaningful and as powerful like the privilege I had protecting my people and my country in the IDF, together with the bravest men I ever met in my life, Doron. And I made a promise for those who did come back, as opposed to those who are lying now in Har Herzl, that I will do my best to make sure that they get the right recognition, and that I will make sure that they come back to civilian life the best I can. And that's why I'm working for the NGO Peace of Mind. And the second thing I promised to the people who didn't come back in Har Herzl is I will make sure that the world know that they are the bravest people alive, that they are the next series of Band of Brothers in 20 years from now will be about them. The Western younger version of Maccabees, after the people of who fought in Second World War, and protecting the name and image of the state of Israel like you do. Amazing. I see your stuff. I love it. You give me so much strength and energy sometimes, and I have to get married. It's time. So all those things, I that's what I'm doing.
Bezrat Hashem.
Man,
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that, brother. That's awesome. That is awesome. Wow. So, I mean, just recently we saw Jonathan Carton. For those who know him, don't know him, doesn't matter. But this individual I had the privilege of meeting a few years ago while being with a group of how would you say, public diplomacy, fighting anti-Semitism, and whatnot. And so we were on one of those tours here in Israel. And um, so this gentleman that I'm talking about, he has been in Toronto as of late. And there was a viral footage that went out where you had the pro-Palestine fanatics break into a meeting where I don't know the whole context of what it was, but it seems like there was going to be a presentation about Israel or something like that. And the crowd went ballistic and decided to crash the event, and then physically broke into the place, broke the glass, broke through the doors, broke through the blockades that they had put up. And then this guy I'm talking about, Jonathan, he just, I mean, grabs them and manhandles them out of the facility. And when I saw that, people want to understand the context or the connotation of the history of the Jewish people, like you're mentioning, and how we've been used to this double standard and been used to being pogromed, attacked, marginalized, especially in Europe and around the world. And this is talk about in Canada and Toronto. And then he physically just gets them out of there in a beautiful way. He didn't punch anybody. He didn't kick anybody. He didn't, you know what I'm saying? He didn't assault people. It was, they were assaulting him. And then he very masterfully took them out of there like a security guard would do. And that's my field. That's where my expertise is executive protection. And when I saw him do that, I was just rooting for him. I said, and I messaged him, I said, brother, I'm so glad to see that, because that's what the world needs to see is Jews are not going to be the world's punching bag anymore. And that's why I'm bringing this up. And I think that's just echoing what you were just saying. And I think that's what you're also saying is that's the sentiment that you feel that you're wanting to target and stop being a victim. Am I hearing it correctly?
100%. Every word there. I had goosebumps while you were talking. I think it was a perfect example
Yeah.
of, and I know him. I had a wonderful dinner at his house. I had a wonderful schmooze with him in the shul in the what's it called, Chabad on the coast. We went to his house. We had a whiskey. We spoke about it was he's not a good friend of mine, but we had a wonderful morning. I met a guy who made Aliyah, went to
Yeah.
the army, a hardcore Zionist, proud Jew, and I couldn't be more prouder to see those videos. It also made me sad. It also
Yeah.
broke my heart,
Yeah.
and it broke my heart the same way because and you said something before that I disagreed with. You said fanatic pro-Palestinians. They're not. They're good kids from good schools and good homes. That's who they are.
Hmm.
And they're putting on masks. They're cowards.
Yeah.
They're not, I'm not even going to the walk. They are doing something really, really sophisticated where, when someone's going like this to you in your face or saying horrible things about you
Yeah.
and trying to erase your identity and trying to question the Holocaust and
Right.
trying to maybe the country you built, fought, your cities, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, maybe, oh, it went well. It's not really yours. It's the only Jewish state out of 55 or 53 Muslim countries. And then they could do whatever they want. And the moment we dare to stand back and to do what Jonathan did, and honestly, if it was Jonathan didn't grow up in Israel, if it was one of my friends or us, we wouldn't just push them.
Hmm.
What I'm trying to say is I'm proud of him. Kol
Yeah.
hakavod to him, and that's a shout out to all those teenagers I meet a lot during my work during in Englewood, Teaneck, Riverdale, uh, Miami Beach, Boca, Aventura, Young Israel of Florida. These amazing Zionist, patriotic American, good Jews who built communities and houses and Jewish camps and a beautiful life without, you know, and what they're being going through is so unfair. I feel
Yeah.
protected in my country. I feel protected with my platoon. Look, I'm sitting in my mother's house. I'm going in an hour to eat a kosher shawarma, and then I'm going to meet my 5 friends. We're going to a bonfire in Yao Ben Shemen. We're good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
tough. This is my land. We
Yeah.
fought for it. And what they're doing there, those spoiled brats, those entitled kids
Yeah.
are, instead of supporting us, and I'm okay with saying, let's talk, let's debate. Some things we're doing is wrong, but what they're doing to the Jews in America and in Canada and in London is, there's one thing we want you to feel: not at home. You're
Yeah.
not welcome. So
Yeah.
what? So what if
Yeah.
you're Paul Simon and Steven Spielberg, who all these, so what if your contribution to American society has been unique since the 50s? So what if you Nobel Prize? So what? So
Yeah.
what if you were sent 100,000 fighters to Second World War? So what if you became really American? Those Hamas terrorists who raped and burnt and conquered and put it on GoPro live, they're freedom fighters and we support them. So I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Done. My heart is broken. Honestly, though, Darren, I expected our enemies to do October 7th. It's the same people who've done 9/11 and Charlie Hebdo and the European attacks in the name of Allah. It's the same people who are going to turn every pub into a mosque, and it's unbelievable to see. And there's one Jewish state, and we have to stand up. We have to do what Jonathan did, and that's when I speak to these communities and to these young, brave, and girls. Um, I try to tell them one thing: please, please, don't do this. Don't do that. Do
Mm.
this. You know. And if
Yeah.
you're being picked up by your Uber, don't change your name. And if your colleagues are asking you, where are you flying to next week? Look in their eyes and say, Israel. I'm going to visit my cousins and my
Yeah.
friends. You have to stand tall. You have to be proud. You have to speak loud. We need you strong. I need you strong. We can't bow down. The world doesn't, they're not used to seeing a successful minority. They're not used to seeing a Jew flying an F-35. There, I saw your picture on one of your Instagrams from Gaza. You look like King David, and you look like a Viking. They're not used to, look, you don't they don't they're not used to seeing that. They're not
Correct.
used they're
Correct.
not used to us owning businesses, owning NBA teams. We could work for them. We could be shushed in the side, but to be successful, but to be really successful, to build big houses, to own two houses, to own an NBA team, no. To be accepted to Harvard and Yale, no. Too much. Hey,
Yeah.
go. So it's the first time in my life as a Jew. Fuck you. I'm down. I'm not banging anymore. I'm done with the politeness. We're not going anywhere. We're not going
Mm.
anywhere. This is my country. This is where I was. I wasn't born here, but every stone here is part of who I am. So I will fight for it here physically, and I will give my life 1,000 more times if I can. I hope I want. I want to build a family. I want to be an Abba. I want to be a father. I
Yeah.
want to sing Imish Kachech in the land of Israel under the
Hmm.
chuppah. And now I want my brothers in America to feel strong and to feel safe. And I'll do anything I can with my limited sources. But it's crazy. The biggest betray in my world, in I ever felt, is not by the Hamas people who did what they did in Gaza. I expect it from them, and more
Hmm.
is going to come all over the world. But the betray of the intellectuals, professors, the colleagues, the neighbors of the good people in America and in Europe, I'm not surprised. I don't expect anything from them. That's the truth. Americans and Tucker Carlson and Candace Rice, all those people, they break my heart. They really
Mm.
do.
Yeah.
Uh,
You know, like what you were saying there, and I think this is what is important for people to understand. You know, psychologically, when a person stands their ground from an angry mob, like Jonathan was doing, they're turning the tables. They're saying, no, I'm not going to be intimidated by your violence. No, I'm not going to be intimidated by your hate. No, I'm not going to be the Jew who's going to be beaten up again. And in doing so, notice how he was able to overpower, I think it was like 5 people. Okay. Um, and not because he was stronger than all of them combined, but his standing his ground and saying, this is a red line, you're not crossing it, that created a psychological turning of the tables to the aggressors. And then the other thing, like you mentioned about, the photos that you've seen of me and whatever, some people might think I'm trying to kind of draw attention to myself, be a media whore or whatever. I enjoyed my anonymity for many, many years, especially with the work that I do. We don't advertise what our clients are, what cool guy things we do, and missions. We've never done that. But when I saw the hate from the world, I chose to use my social media platform that I mainly use to, you know, fight anti-Semitism or whatever, to use that to show, like what you just said, the Jew who is a warrior Jew, and we're going to show you what special forces looks like. And I'm not just going to show you what it looks like. I'm also going to show you that when you see our guys and you see the photos that I take and publish, if you put it up against any other special forces in the world and some of the best in the world, you're going to see that it's a copy paste same. It's the same gear. It's the same techniques that we use in warfare. In other words, we are the same. So the same heroes that you adored, the Navy SEALs, the Green Berets, the Rangers, the U.S. Marines, and you salute them and you say thank you for your service. And these are our heroes. Well, these are our heroes, and we are just as equally amazing. And I'm not saying that about myself, but I can say that about the men that I served with. And I've had the greatest honor to serve with these men. And for me, it's a way to showcase them and like you said, give a finger, so to speak, a big finger to the world and say, we will stand our ground. We will defend ourselves. We are the warrior Jew. We are the Maccabee Jew. We are not the oppressive Jew that is going to run away like it's been for centuries, from anti-Semites that have hated us, if it be from the Christian world, from the Muslim world, from the communist world, the whatever isms. And so that was very purposeful, and I'm happy to hear that from your from your perspective, how you saw that, because that's kind of the message I wanted to show, is that we are not weak, we will not be defeated. And it's also, actually, it was for me mostly to target the terrorists and say, this is who's coming for you, you know, and intimidate them. And so I'm happy if it helped also encourage fellow warriors around the
100%.
world.
100%.
You know,
Like I said, they're not. They like seeing us losing.
yeah,
We grew up. We're not so much age apart, but we grew up with pictures of seeing Jews in 1939 with a gun on them,
yeah,
and 80 years later, they're seeing pictures of a Jew holding a gun. They don't like that. They don't like it.
correct, correct, correct.
We'll go to visit your museums and to say, oh, we're sorry for what we did, in Europe,
Right,
and we're
right,
sorry, like we really, but and it's so, and where were
yeah,
we, and how were we sleeping, but and it's okay to see uh different Muslims, uh and not everyone are radical Islams. Some of them are just Muslims from Gaza who called their parents and saying, hey, I just slaughtered 10 Jews,
yeah,
and that's cool. That's okay. He's probably a freedom fighter or he was occupied. But if we dare to put a picture of us on uniform,
yeah.
in the Israeli uniform, with a gun and proud, and sing Lecha Dodi, like a video I have with other people, that's too much already. What are you
Yeah.
doing? You're celebrating your Jewish identity? You're proud
Yeah.
of your Zionism?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we're going to show you. We're going to show you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I saw your pictures, and I honestly, I'm like, fuck yeah, I couldn't be more proud.
and and you know what? We need to change that narrative. And if you notice, also the film that I helped produce, "I Am Israel: The Mountain of the King," that's also what you're seeing. You're seeing that the one who's leading the expedition, my character, a real guy, because it's technically a real story, if you like. It's, even though we're acting ourselves and we're rewalking through a scene or whatever, it's not a documentary like in a pure sense of the word, if you like. It's making a film, but the message of the film is the one who's helping lead this expedition is an IDF soldier, is a special forces guy, is a proud Jew, and one of our promotion photos that we promoted is where you see me in the talit and doing the morning prayer, and it's highlighting that this is something to be proud of, is our Jewish identity, like you said, not hiding it. And this is a Christian director who is highlighting this and wants to see this and wants to show his Christian audience around the world, this is Israel. This is what an Israeli warrior looks like. One of course, because as we know, there's secular Jews and there's all kinds. But the fact that he is proud to be proud of this type of Jew, and not ashamed of, like you said, you grew up with the religious community, who are the religious national, or however. This is a community that I connected with years later. I didn't grow up with that. um, I grew up with more like normal, I wouldn't say secular Jews, but what they call the I forget the word now off the top of my head. Not wearing kippah all week or whatever, but go to the synagogue on Shabbat. We have the feasts and the customs, but it's not, they're not religious Jews, if you like, right? That's what I grew up with. But when I got exposed to Jews in Judea and Samaria and that community and that vibe, I was like, yeah, this is like what most Israelis should be like, proud of being Jewish, proud of their faith. And not just that, they're the reason why they're in Judea, Samaria is because of their faith. Because they're going to the land of the fathers. This is what Abraham was promised, and they're going to go re-inhabit that area. And yet they're the ones who are marginalized by the media and demonized and made into the bad guys. And yet here you have a Christian director who is like, no, 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 no. These are the cool people, and I'm going to show it to you on a screen and show you the beauty of Israel, and that this is actually a beautiful expression of faith. Is these Jewish people coming back to their land, and that's the message that I try to push, of course, and highlight in Israel. Not that we have the gay parade and all this other stuff that I'm actually ashamed of. That's something that I don't think is something we should be proud of. My personal opinion. For those of you out there who get offended by that, get over yourself. It's like I don't need to apologize about that either. You
I
know,
I'm with you, and you said something about the Christian. I have to say that the only uh Ol Biktseh Minara, the only uh
light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah,
yeah, sometimes, sometimes I'll just, before I go to sleep, and it's 11 o'clock, and I'll scroll down, and then it's 2 a.m. Um but I see such horrible things saying about stuff about Israel, these such lies, and I'm like, why? Why are they saying it? Why are they doing it? There's no emet in it. It's false. It's lies. And I
yeah,
see, and I go into their page, and I see the comments, and I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. Like, there's nothing more I love in my life. I think the number one love of my life, before my parents, before myself, before anything, is my love to the state of Israel, to my Jewish
mm,
heritage.
mm,
It's I can't, and people are saying such horrible lies about it. And then the only time I feel like there's a bit of light is when I see these evangelical and Christians, and Charlie Kirk, who they murdered him, and other
yeah.
Christians, and the O7C organization that I met in Nashville with. I think she played in Everybody Loves Raymond, the wife. What's her name?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
What's
yeah.
you remember her name?
Um,
She's great, and
yes. Oh man, I am so terrible with names, and I literally had just been looking at her stuff. I will get
yeah,
to that. I'll get to that.
I think
We definitely have to name her. She is such a cool lady. So first of all, she's Catholic, right? I mean, that's what I know is that she's a Catholic, and so she's not your classic evangelical, and that's what to me,
Patricia Heaton.
Patricia Heaton, yes,
You know,
and yeah, yeah,
I told her when I met her, I flew with 5 IDF veterans to Nashville in Alabama. We went for like an Israeli advocacy delegation. Nashville, Alabama. We met churches. I showed
yeah,
her pictures. I showed all of them. There were some congressmen there. They couldn't believe it. The one I took out picture, I said, after my army service, me and my father, we saw a band of brothers, I think 10 times.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We we flew to London. We drove a car. That was my bar mitzvah present, together with my getting out of the army present. And we
Right.
drove. We drove to Dover, and we went to Calais. We drove 1,000 miles. We went to Normandy to say Kaddish and to pay respect to the people of the young, brave soldiers of Americans who saved the world. I have
Yeah,
pictures of my father saying Kaddish there.
yeah,
They looked at me like, you did that? That's what your father did when you were 22. I said, yeah. You
yeah,
know what America means for me? I see that
yeah,
flag behind you. You know what
yeah,
America means for me?
yeah.
They, and now I feel that the only people in America who get it, who understand us, who are fighting with us, are those Christians who that a-hole, what's his name? Tucker Carlson is
Carlson. Yeah.
now calling them, what did he call them, though? The Christian Zionist?
He said there that I forget he used some nasty word and that he can't stand them. I was like,
It's
yeah,
crazy. These are the people who for
yeah,
me, they give me, it's like drinking water after a fast. They give me energy. They give me hope. They remind me what good America is. They're
yeah,
connected to their
yeah,
roots. They're patriotic. They're,
yeah,
they're normal, not because they love us. And they also have some criticism, but they get it, and they want to understand. And the other part of America, and now New York, I'm afraid to say it's. I want to say it's the beginning of the end, and they're London now, first London, and now them. But speaking to honestly, to meet the average Joe in Nashville, in a garage or giving me a haircut has more knowledge and basic understanding of the world than any professor I met in Harvard or Yale.
Nailed it. Exactly. Exactly. That's my exact experience when
That's
traveling in the United States.
crazy.
You're right. The people, the normal people are have more common sense than these so-called professors and political pundits like Tucker and friends. 100%. You nailed it. You nailed it. Yeah. So you talked about the flag. So for those who haven't heard this before, this flag, by the way, this is the motivation behind what I do, why I'm a defender of Israel, why I live here, why I made this my home. This is my father's flag. He fought World War II.
Wow.
And so this is the flag that the family gets when you bury your loved one, because he had a military ceremony for his funeral as a World War II
Look,
veteran.
I
My
can't
father was
believe.
a Christian Zionist. He was one of the few Christian Zionists in the early years that loved Israel in a special way, that his friends from the war were the ones that told him about a project in Israel, which was the Sinai Agreement, where America brokered the deal with Egypt, saying, Israel, if you give up the Sinai Desert that you just won in the 6 Day War, we'll build bases for you. And that's what brought me and my siblings to be born and raised in Israel,
Wow.
when all the rest of my family are in America, and all the rest of them are either Christian of different, backgrounds or whatever. And then I'm the only one in my whole family that then years later went through Jewish conversion. So,
Oh, wow.
um,
I did not know that. And I
yeah, yeah. And so
thought I,
that's what that
yeah,
means to me. And that's what this flags means to me, of course, is my Israeli upbringing and heritage. Yeah. So
I love it.
to me, they're one and the same. And I think it's important, like what you just said, for the people in the audience hearing in the America First movement, that are turning anti-Semitic, that are turning anti-Israel. You people are stupid if you are believing that, because, like I just pointed out, and like just you did point out beautifully, we, especially those American Jews who have a connection to the United States, and to say those Jews in America are not loyal because they're more loyal to Israel, you're insane. You're insane when you say nonsense like that. That could be farther from the truth. Jews in Israel are more loyal to America and more patriotic to America than a lot of Americans. That I can tell you from personal experience. And Yuda, you can correct me if I misspoke. But
I
we have the only monument outside the United States to 9/11 here in just outside in the hills of Jerusalem. Where else in the world do you have something like that? And it has a piece of the iron beam, or the I beam, from one of the trade centers inside the memorial on a plexiglass that you can see, and it has all the names of the victims from 9/11. Where else in the world do you have that?
listen, my friend. I usually I always have words, but first of all, the fact that that's your father. It maybe we live in a cynical world, and people, especially with this woke. But if I was standing in the room, I would stand in front of that thing and I would salute that thing with so much respect.
Yeah.
For me, I wasn't just born in New York, and for many years as an Israeli growing up, ואני ישראלי מאוד, you know, I was a
Asli.
I was
Israeli Asli.
ירושלמי, ירושלמי חזק, אני לא, and I was ashamed. I used to say, people would ask me, where were you born? I'd say, Yerushalayim. It took me many years to own my American identity, to own the fact that I was born there, to
Mm,
understand that I love America and that I
yeah,
love the American people, that yes, I'm patriotic to America. When I see that flag, something moves there. Yes,
yeah,
my Israeli flag, more, it's in my blood, but when I see that American flag, um, it gives me a reminder of the leader of the free world, the people who will take care of you when the world is turning their back on them. America, those brave people from Honesdale, Pennsylvania, and Nashville and Alabama, those hardworking people who sent their kids to fight those monsters and save the
Yeah.
world. And now, you know, to see that flag,
Yeah.
and I'll show you something. I don't know if you could see it here, but
Yeah.
this is a flag I got from Tzachi Beitner, which this is a shout out from the Young Israel of Florida community. I asked them to
Sweet.
send it to me. Can you see this flag?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nice. Nice. I
This
have one
is
in my I have one
this is
in my workout basement.
this is
Yeah, I
one
love
of the
that.
first. This was on the tank, which was on one of the first tanks to go into Gaza.
Wow.
Okay, we were the first reserve tank unit to go into Gaza. I came up to my friend and I said, "Listen, for me, we have the back of American Jews. We have the back of American Christians. I got some voice messages, videos of all the people I met during my life saying to me, Godspeed, Lech bekochecha betoshet Israel, go with all your heart and you will save Israel. Not
Yeah.
me. I was in, but my combat soldiers in Texas, and I asked him to put it in the tank. And in the beginning, he said to me, "What do you want from me? What do you want from me? I'm hardcore Israeli. What do you want from me?" 2 weeks 2 weeks later, he sees the amount of aid, the packages, the 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 gloves we got from there, the backpacks, the letters from the kids, not just Jews. He said,
Right.
what is this? What is this?" I said, it's called being good people who understand what's going on. And I will forever, forever remember the support of the American Jews, of the American Christians, and how they helped us, and the amount of energy they gave us when energy was low. And
Yeah.
getting, it's not just packages. That's materialism. That's just a thing. But when it comes
Hmm.
with letters and videos and all those visitors who flew, and the
Yeah.
cowboys I met, the cowboys from Montana, I met them
Yes. Those are my
after
good friends, by the way.
I met them afterwards with Healing Trails and Nofi
Yeah.
Gene, who
Yeah.
deserves a shout out to
Yep.
bringing every year 5 IDF soldiers to Montana and to the Cape Barrel Ranch and to Adam. We met those cowboys, Doron. They hosted us in their house. They they love Israel, and I know here, and it's going to be a long journey, and we
Yeah.
have to hold our head on high, but it's going to be very dark times. But America will, I know that most of the Americans, most of them who are now not making a lot of noise, they're with us, they're supporting us. I see it in my videos, I see it from the messages, and even now talking to you, it's just a classic example of the backbone of America and how strong they are and how good they are,
Yeah.
and that gives me hope and a bit of light in a very dark time.
Yeah. Well, to talk about the Cowboys and to make a nod to our my good friends, the Waller family, who started the organization called Hayovel, and they're the ones who have come here years ago before it was popular, before it was cool to do what they did, which is bring volunteers to help the Jewish farmers in Judea, Samaria, risking their lives under the terrorism, escaping terrorist attacks by just minutes away, where a car gets attacked either before them or after they pass on the exact same routes. Um, and these are those hardcore Christians, like you said, that put their money where their mouth is, so to speak, right? They put their lives on the line to literally stand with Israel, not when it's popular, not when it's cool, not when coming to just see the go ride the Jesus boat and tour the beautiful, quiet Israel, the non-war time. But they were here before the war broke out. They were here during the war, and they're still here as we speak. And one of my good friends, who is one of the
Ezekiel.
yeah,
Ezekiel.
no. So one of my good friends who is in the film, by the way, talking again, another nod to our film, the "I Am Israel, the Mountain of the King." Joshua Waller, he's the cowboy, so-called, from Tennessee, right? That representing the American, like, country boy, right? And he's part of that expedition where we go and follow the Ark of the Covenant, and then basically lead our viewers to Mount Zion, as kind of the pinnacle of of the tour that we do. And that's, again, they're the ones who brought the cowboys that you mentioned. They're the ones who have done a lot for Israel. And I can tell you, they don't get even enough recognition for the years of sacrifice and defending and starting the Israel Guys platform that's become huge. But again, it's through their continuous commitment to really fight for Israel in a very meaningful and real way, not just through word, but through action. And so that's those guys, and that's how you got connected with that. So I'm
I
so happy to hear the people that get impacted by their amazing work.
I promised myself, like I told you in the beginning of this conversation, that anyone who's going to show me a bit of support, and I think if there's one thing you could say about the Jewish people, is
Yeah,
that if you show them a bit of love and give them a bit of it back, they'll take care of you forever. And I saw those cowboys scrolling in one of my in between Gazas after 11
yeah,
soldiers were killed.
correct.
Um, I
Yeah,
remember, and I remember saying, these brave guys are, first of all, they just look great. They don't give a shit. They look like cowboys 100 years ago, and
right,
they're
right.
and their whole
And
and
they're
the
the
whole
real deal. They're the real deal. I can tell you that right now.
whole
Those
country
those
fell in
guys.
love with them. The whole country. Why? Because six individuals, they're not going to
Yeah,
win the war, said
right,
something that Abraham said to God, I am here, Hineni.
right.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I can help you, but I am here physically. Hineni. What can I do? And for
Yeah.
that, for a Jew, for an Israeli, it means the world. And I promised myself that one day I will knock on their door and look in their eyes and say thank you. And
Mm.
amazingly, 2 years later, because of Healing Trails, because of this organization I was part of for a bit, we were able to connect with them. And I find myself 2 years later, and maybe, oh, Machlite, I found myself with Ezekiel, and I don't remember the names of the other guys, and I spent half a day with them. We had a barbecue, we rode the
Yeah.
horses, I have some videos, and I said to them, thank you for sending Ineni. Thank you for showing
Yeah.
support. It meant the world for me. And we've been in touch ever since. And every time they'll come to Israel, I'll be the first in the airport to give them a hug, to say thank you.
Mm.
And I will always make sure, like I told you before, I'm a simple Jew. I work for an NGO. My Baruch Hashem, my fridge is full, and I'm doing well. But if I ever have the ability, I'm gonna take care of those people and make sure that they'll continue doing whatever they do. Um, I don't know them well, but I love them, and they have my back forever.
So, um, just to change gears a little bit here, there's some new documentary that is, coming out here, and obviously, depending on when this goes airs and whatnot, how much time has gone in between. But as we're speaking, the documentary I think released today, where basically claiming that they have Israeli soldiers that are giving testimony to basically committing war crimes in Gaza. You were one of the first guys going in. I was from the foot soldiers, first units going in. We went in with the paratroopers, so we were the first ones in the ground invasion. And my team and I have been from day one of October 7th till last week, nearly 500 days operating back and forth on multiple deployments. Been to Lebanon, been to all of Gaza. I haven't seen throughout my whole time operating not one war crime committed by anybody. Can you have, or do you have anything to say about that in your experience? Is it different than mine? Maybe I'm the one wearing rosy glasses.
No, I think I have a lot to say, but I know we're on a podcast, and
Yeah.
I know we have to be short.
Yeah.
But if we would commit war crimes from day one, so we'd end the 6 Day War in a day, we'd end the Yom Kippur War in a day. We wouldn't be fighting the other wars. And in October 7th, if we would commit war crimes and genocide and all the lies and use our full power like we did with Iran, we'd, by October 10th, we wouldn't have anyone else to fight anymore.
Mm.
We could flatten Gaza in 3 hours. We could. Look what we did to Lebanon. Look what we did to Iran. Look what we did in Syria. Look what we did to the Roman Empire. Look what we did to the Persian. Look what we did in the last 1,000 years. No matter what we do, they'll always find something going.
Yeah.
What they're doing is also, again, very sophisticated. Oh, you were punched? Let's talk about how you punch back now. Maybe if you could just make sure it's not too strong and maybe not here. And just let's see that that the punch will only break one tooth. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to talk to me about Nagasaki, Hiroshima? If we're
Yeah.
talking about America, you want to do what you want to talk about the English Empire did around the world. You want to
Yeah.
talk about what the Chinese are doing to the Tibets. Who the fuck do you think you are by telling us how to fight back? How many are we killing? When are we killing? What time? The war didn't start. You started your demonstrations all around the world. The war
Yeah.
didn't even start. While women, Jewish women, were being raped, you were
Correct. Correct.
demonstrating and celebrating the awful things that happened to us and lying.
Yeah.
So don't tell me about genocide. And I could
Yeah.
promise you, and I don't care if anyone who's anti-Israel listening to you, I hope, and I could make a promise and swear. I never swear, but there's one thing I swear in my life. I swear in my life, ani nishba, shebachayim sheli, never did I see my platoon commander, my combat soldiers, my anyone ever committing what we're being blamed. And in the
Mm.
beginning, they told us we bombed the hospital, and then they figured out that we did it. Then they said we're making them hungry, we're starving them. Then we're
Right.
saying we're doing genocide. Then the F-35s are doing. Then all eyes on Rafah.
Yeah.
Every single time, it's something else. We
Yeah.
cannot fight back. We cannot win. We, I have a platoon commander, and I also in my army service as a sadirnik and as a help me with this one as a
Enlisted.
yeah, when I was 18, not
Yeah. Enlisted, not reservist. Yeah.
every commander I had, the one after with a kippah, without a kippah, a leftist, a right winger, a kibbutznik. The army has such a special, different variety of Israelis, all of them would say, we will always attack, and we will attack strong. But
Mm.
a Jew, an Israeli IDF soldier, is one who first thinks how not to take life. It's how
Yep.
to defend. That's our motto. And,
Correct.
in the beginning, as a young soldier, you're like, what? Fuck that. Do you think
Right.
that's what
Exactly.
they're saying? That's what they're saying in the Chinese army? You think that's what they're saying in the American army? You think they're talking about how to save lives? No, there's a
Yeah.
mission, and we're being
Yeah.
attacked in our soil, and no genocide. And I
Yeah.
am proud. I couldn't be more prouder to serve in the IDF. I couldn't be more prouder to serve with people who don't wake up in the morning and say, let's kill. The opposite. But if we need to, we're done. We're not bowing, and we're going to do whatever we need to do. And because we do it the way we do it, and most of the world knows that, and they know we could finish the war in 3 hours, not 3 days,
Yeah.
they create a whole system of, oh, we can't win them physically. We tried in 48, 67, 73, October 7th.
Yeah.
Now we're going to start doing it through the campuses and with the professors and with the media and genocide and war crimes. Bullshit. When I saw three Hamasnikin, and I have their pictures, sitting in the sun, my unit, my unit. You know how many soldiers were walking around with a glass of water, giving it to them? And inside, I'm like, what? But you know
Yeah.
what? I'm proud of it
Yeah.
because we're not like them. We're not
Correct.
like, and they will rot in hell, those three terrorists, those radical Islamists, those animals.
Yeah.
But they were blindfolded, their hands were and they were under the shade. And every 30 minutes, someone else would come up to them with a glass of water.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? In the beginning, I was pissed, and people could call me a fascist. People could call me whatever they want.
Yeah.
For me, as a Jew, and my grandparents who survived Auschwitz, I was proud to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Never, never did I see genocide. Never did I see uh, war crimes.
Yeah.
And go ahead, continue with your lies. It's fine.
Exactly. Because that's what it is. You know it's wrong. I know it's wrong. And that's why I'm talking to you, because you were the boots on the ground. You were the person that was there, the man in the arena, is which is part of the theme of this podcast. For anybody who takes the time to read, instead of just making stupid comments and whatever, you might understand at least where I'm coming from, what I'm trying to say. And anybody who's interviewed on this, the subject matter we're talking about is why they're the person being interviewed. I'm not like Tucker Carlson, who talks about Christian persecution and interviews Christians in the PA, in the Palestinian Authority, and talk about Christian persecution in Israel. That's as disingenuous and horrible as possible. But guess what? I have a podcast devoted to the Christian Israelis living in Israel, and ask them directly, is there persecution against you? And first of all, it's mainly no. Are there acts of violence and discrimination by idiots towards the Christians? Yes. Does the Israeli police and the Israeli public abhor it? Yes. Nobody applauds and goes, oh, that's bravo. Look how they just treated their Christian neighbor. So, any case, that's why you're here, is to give your insights as a soldier who's fought in Gaza. Um, but here's another question I wanted to ask you: Have Do you have any memories or stories of miracles that happened during your time in Gaza that you witnessed, where you saw God did something supernatural that delivered either you, your team, or even the Palestinians you might have witnessed uh, through something supernatural, if you like.
That's an interesting question. Honestly, I have to say that there were, and I'll be 100% honest with you. There were times that I would look up and say, "Where are you?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? איפה אתה?"
Yeah.
באמת. It's important for me to be openly honest with you, because I think you deserve it, and you fought there, and you were with
Yeah.
us. You're not just someone from the States who's interviewing me with a suit, and you're actually لنفسك.
That's right.
You're كتف الكتف, where
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
there were times that I would hear about something and my heart would break, and I would look up and like, what do you want from us?
Yeah.
Like, what are
Yeah.
you? באמת.
Yeah.
But
100%.
and it's with me. Sometimes, I I I I heard that sometimes from my mother, saying that when she asked her mother when she was at Auschwitz, how did they leave the camps and sing Lecha Dodi every Friday afterwards? How did they leave the camps and continue being Yehudim Aminim, Jews who still believe in God and keep Shabbos
Yeah.
after Auschwitz? And I remember one night that I felt the first time since I was, maybe even ever, honestly, maybe even ever, because I'm a cynical guy um, when it comes to Hashem, to God.
Yeah.
But there was one night in, it's my mother. I have to say hello. Um, Ima, classic Jewish moment.
There
Hello.
you go. There you go. There you go. I love it.
I mean, I love her, Ima Esther, but whatever. There was one night in Dir el Balach Sajay, I'm not sure, Hanukkah.
Mhm. Mhm.
honestly, we were wet. It was raining,
I
and it
I
was
remember those days.
uh, and it was Hanukkah, and
Yeah.
I'm like, we're in the dirt. Everyone's dirty. It's 21 days on. It's the platoon commander was there. I have a video after of that. I could send it to you. You must see it. It's the only time when they still told us there are no cell phones and it's not allowed. But when people tell me something that is not allowed, always have to find the. Don't, don't tell me I'm
You're a
being
real Israeli. You're a real. That's how you're proving
correct.
you're a real Israeli.
Correct.
I'm not allowed
No,
to do this. Oh, okay.
exact. And I remember looking at my platoon unit who was doing this. I remember looking at my 55 years old driver. I forgot his name. With putting out his white classic Maserati Yarmulke.
Yeah.
The Machat, with the brigade commander who's a Dati but doesn't wear a kippah. There was Sephardi, there was Ashkenazi. It was such a holy moment. We were lighting the nail the night of Hanukkah,
Hmm.
and we're celebrating. We're saying Shechianu. And one part of me was like, seriously, this is a Shechianu in Dir el Balach, in the dirts of Gaza, where I'm underneath the ground. My brothers are here, and we're looking for them.
Hmm.
I want to be with my parents in Jerusalem, lighting the candles, having donuts with my nephews who I love. I want to go on a date in 2 days. I want to see the movie who just came out.
You're
What
right.
the fuck? And it's cold, and we're wet, and we're
Yeah.
eating this cold food that came 3 hours ago. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep. Yep.
but it was, but I felt honestly, for the first time in my life, lighting that candle, singing Mao's Tzur. Ken, yes, Shechianu, for the state, for the Jewish identity, for the fact that 80 years ago my grandmother was lighting candles in Auschwitz, and I'm still lighting candles, even
Yeah.
though I'm in this disgusting hell. And we have an army, we have a tank, we have planes, we have guns, we have a country, we have a state, we have a flag, we have a nation, we have commanders. We have soldiers who are 22 and 32 and 42 and 52 who are willing to give up anything
Yeah.
to protect their people. 2 days ago, Hadar Goldin, Zichrono Livracha, someone who was in 11 years underground, thousands of Jews came to pay condolence.
Commemorate. Yeah.
What's the word?
To commemorate.
Where else in the world do you see thousands of people who don't even know him?
Yeah.
For me, lighting that candle in November, I think it was November, with 40 people, different people from all over Israel, religious, non-religious, singing Shechianu and Maoz Tzur, I felt for the first time in my life, honestly, that God was present there. I
Mm.
felt that God is with us. I felt that Hashem is saying to me, Yehuda, I know you're angry. I know that I messed up a few times, but I'm with you. Go in. Don't be afraid. Help your guys. I'm not a classic fighter anymore, going in a tank day by day. I'm in the Malemi Chadash, the refill unit. So every
Hmm.
24 hours would come with new ammunition and packages and letters and food and water. I felt like a Israeli Santa Claus every 24. It was the biggest privilege I had in my life. Honestly, that was a miracle for me. I know it sounds crazy, but for me to wear the green uniform and to have my grandfather's a small siddur, and to have my picture of Ilan Ramon, and to have a lollipop I got from a young girl from America, and to have a letter in my backpack from kids in different neighborhoods in Israel. I felt that on my right hand is my past, my Jewish heritage, Auschwitz. I felt that here was my, you know, the state of Israel, what we built. Behind me are the brave kids who are sitting now, lying down in Har Herzl, and in
Mm.
front of me, the state of Israel. and the Jewish people. And I was lighting that candle, and I באמת felt that כאילו Hashem is here.
Yeah.
And it was I know it sounds crazy, and I know I'm gonna regret parts of it afterwards, because I always debate with my friends about where's God since October 7th. But honestly, I felt that he was there, and I felt that he was with us there, and I felt that he was saying to us, "I'm with you." And someone could say, but soldiers were killed afterwards. What do you say to them? What do you say to your parents?
Yeah.
Um, and I could say the same of Auschwitz, but we continued the same way my grandparents left Auschwitz and continue singing Lecha Dodi. So I, in Hanukkah and the Friday afterwards, sang Maoz Tzur Yeshuati. And then on Friday, I sang uh, Lecha Dodi. And then on Sunday, with 400 soldiers, I sang Hatikva.
Mm.
So you ask me about God for that week, I felt him, and I felt I was living in a miracle. I know it sounds crazy, but that's the truth.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. Um, the other thing I wanted to ask you about before we close here is about your initiative that you've been working with. Can you explain to the audience here what motivated you? What's your purpose? What are you trying to achieve through your initiative?
I hope you would ask me about it. I don't want to be rude and impose my. It's not my NGO. I work for it. I'm the special project manager now in Peace of Mind. I started working for Peace of Mind 3 years ago. So just to give you a quick macro about the NGO, Peace of Mind is under the Meitiv psych, psychotherapeutic center in Israel. Dr. Danny Blum started Peace of Mind 14 years ago after Second Lebanon War, where he felt that soldiers are coming back from the war maybe physically full, but some of them are broken.
Hmm.
Divorces, violence, getting fired, depression, addiction. And this was 14 years ago. I hope Danny Blum wins Pas Israel, because in a very machoistic Israeli time where talking about emotions were not cool and hakol beseder, everything's cool, and it's not.
Right. Right.
Danny Danny went like a, you know, and started talking about um, three things that why peace of mind is different and special. Where um, we send units who are in extreme combat situations for a week of therapy and fun in Jewish communities around the world,
Mm.
where a unit um, will basically, it's a 9 months journey where the main part of the journey is 9 days, usually in America, in our wonderful Jewish communities, where from 9 to 5, with two therapists from Israel, they'll sit in a group circle and have intense group therapy
Mm.
and go through some heavy stuff. But in the
Yeah.
evening, fun, NBA games, in barbecue nights. Shabbat is probably one of the most holy things, and maybe hopefully when the next time you're in the States, we'll be able to invite you and you'll be able to see it. But honestly, you talk about God and holiness. Where I feel that always is when I'm with the Peace of Mind group
Mm.
unit from the
Mm.
army, and they're all being hosted in our communities. And Shabbat morning, they are invited to the Bima, and you have 20 guys walking to the seventh Aliyah together, and then 10 minutes later doing the Misha Berach for the state of Israel in front of the whole community, singing the Tfilah Leshlom HaChayalim.
Mm.
I think, despite the fact that there are 400 Jewish people weeping, especially in the women's section, but also a
Mm.
lot in the men's section. And even to see the guys see how the community looks to them, that's where another moment where I feel it's holy. I think
Mm.
Peace of Mind is doing an amazing work of of helping soldiers um, go back to a civil life a bit better. They feel that post trauma is not a either you have it or not. It's a spectrum.
Hmm.
Some people have it a bit, some people don't have it at all. But
Right.
these soldiers, and hopefully also you, they deserve closure and gratitude. And no one could do it better like the Jewish communities in England, America, and Canada, especially in America, the amount of love these guys get. So,
Mm.
by the way, just a small anecdote. Next June, we will be sending, hopefully, to Camp Moshava, the biggest Jewish camp in America, 150 soldiers from 10 different units, together with 22 therapists.
Wow.
And we in spending a week, and if that goes well, we'll double that up. And this is a invitation for people who want to join the weekend, the Shabbat. We're going to open up for guests and community representatives from Peace of Mind and Moshava. But lo alecha melacha ligmor, there's so much work to do. And just to conclude, I've been there for the last 3 years. It's a promise I made, like I said to you, when I was 18. I was working in politics and in high tech and even in a basketball team, and I was trying to find myself career-wise, and I was fired a lot.
Mm.
Sometimes I deserved it, sometimes I didn't. You know, uh, I answer back a lot, and I have to work on that. But honestly, I could say that the work in Peace of Mind has changed my life. It's my call, and it sits on my love to my country. It sits on
Mm.
my love to my Jewish identity, for the care I have to the Jewish brothers and sisters we have in diaspora. My dream is to do a collaboration with the Israeli army, and we're working about something. And if you want to be a part of it, so you're welcome to join, but it's going to be cool. Unfortunately, there's work for the next 30 years.
Hmm.
Uh, there are
Yeah.
so there are so many soldiers who need that week, and there's a lot of NGOs who do it, and I wish them all the best. And hatzlachatam hatzlachatenu. But Peace of Mind has a really, really special. I think it's a bridge. It's a bridge to uh, a new way of what it means to be a vulnerable man and to say I need help. It's a bridge to Jewish identity, to see, you know, how many guys go on Peace of Mind and they see these communities in America, conservative, Orthodox, and they come back and they say, hey, I also want to להדליק נרות on Friday night. These
Hmm.
people are chill because religion in Israel is so tense and political. They
Right.
come back and they want to be a part of it. Every 2 soldiers are being hosted by a family, so we have 12 families who are hosting them. Imagine a family from Riverdale, Teaneck, Miami, Boca, whatever, hosting 2 soldiers now and 20 soldiers together for a week. They get the best of the best in their community for a week, going with them to barbecues, NBA games, having breakfast with them. You know, it
Yeah.
changes their life. It turns their Zionist flame even higher. They make these
Hmm.
kids so proud. And I could say that the connections between the families and the soldiers stay for years. Some of them come to their weddings. Now we have Deal, New Jersey hosted us, and a shout out to Maurice and Gail Seton, who've been hosting our Peace of Mind for the second time, and now they came back to one of their guys who were in their house to their wedding. That always reminds me, between that amazing band and the 2 flags you hide behind you, that there will always be like this, always, even though
Mm.
people are trying to, it will always be this. And that's my life mission. So I could do that through Peace of Mind. And it's a very special NGO, honest, good people. And there's a lot of work to do. And I'm honored that I could work there and do um, my bit of contribution. And yeah, Peace of Mind, it's special. Good people, good work.
Man, that's awesome. I'm very excited to hear about that. Because like you mentioned, there's going to be many years of work to be done for those of us who have seen the most horrific things during these 2 years of war fighting. Some more, some less, of course, right? Um, but it's everyone that's been deployed and fighting. It's different levels of trauma and horrors that they've been exposed to, and we've lost over 900 soldiers from October 7th during this current conflict. And I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's about just over 200 who have attempted to take their lives.
Correct.
Am I is that correct? My numbers from what I
Yeah, yeah,
researched on this, and that's
yeah.
very concerning. And I know personally, um, from my team, I know that we know a guy just recently, unfortunately, took their life, and I know of many other stories that I've seen, and it's heartbreaking.
We a week ago, someone from my platoon committed suicide. A father of two.
Oh
The
man,
last round, he left a note. But I spent many of my times. The first thing I came in when we came in with the Malemi Chadash, was the refill. He
yeah,
was one of the first guys. We would go have a cigarette. Dimitri Shapiro. So it's important for me to say his name, and
yeah,
I'm really happy. I wouldn't say happy, but i- im- I really appreciate the fact that you're using your platform to actually talk about this, because there are many people who are still like trying to convince themselves and their surroundings and that um "Akol beseder," I'm
right.
okay, I'm good. And you know why I think we have our some of us have the PTSD, or we have our we need to talk about it, because in the end of the day, and that goes back to who we are and what kind of combat soldiers are we. In the end of
Hmm.
the day, we're Jews, and in the end of the day, we're the people of the books, and we would love to go back to our works and to our clinics and to our schools and to develop and to high tech. We don't wake up in the morning and we're happy to go to war. We're not. I don't
Correct.
know one guy in my platoon who will do it. And boy, we will do it, and we will do it 1,000 times more.
Yeah.
But I the fact that we are who we are, yes, we fighting is intense, war is tough, and because we're Jews and we have a soul and we're not barbaric, radical, fanatic, crazy animals, we afterwards need to digest and talk about it. It just
Mm.
shows in the world of vulnerability what a man is, and I'm proud of it, and I'm really happy. Again, happy is not the word, but thank you for bringing this up. It's extremely important, and anyone, if anyone who's watching this, who went through the war, who's 50, who's 40, who's 30, and saw the stuff he saw, and did the stuff he did, and anything. So please reach out to me, reach out to the Peace of Mind organization, to Metiv. Um, in Einali Mili. No,
Yeah.
no one knows. And if you feel that there are things that you need to talk about, when I came back after 147, and maybe you could relate, you know, and I sleep well at night. I'm good. The first few days when I came back from Gaza in my apartment, I live in the middle of Tel Aviv. I felt like a bag in the wind. Ever see a bag in the wind?
Yeah.
Felt like I woke up in the morning. I went out, and should I go right? Should I go left? Should I go to the coffee? Should I go to work? Fuck work. Even in peace of mind, I'll answer an email, a WhatsApp. Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was such a sense of like I just went to war for 170 days with the bravest people. I was in like a peak, here. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
For for days, I felt like who people were calling me like, you want to uh, a high tech company was like, what the only people I wanted to talk was the people I fought with.
Yeah.
The only people I respected was the people who went through what we went through, and you know
Correct.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So when you offered me the I didn't say yes because your podcast is good, is interesting, which it is, and
Yeah.
I hope it grows, and I really hope it becomes. I hope in the next few years we'll see that 1M, but you fought. I saw you fought. You fought there.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
me, automatically, you're my brother. Gamarno. That's it. I'll do
Yeah.
anything you need. You need me to come now to Elat at 2 a.m. I'll be there 1:30. You know that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but there's a serious situation, and people need to know. And if someone else is watching, and you have a soldier, you have a husband, a father, a son, who fought there, and he's the officer. He's 2 meters tall. He's strong. I'm good. Ask him. Ask him if everything's okay.
Exactly.
Ask ask him and show him that you see him. Show him that you hear him. You never know what's going on in an individual's souls, and everyone is fighting a battle you don't know, especially the people who now fought for 200 days. Yes, everyone had a hard time in Israel, but these people, these brave soldiers, these combat soldiers, which I was part of them for half of the time, no one could imagine what it feels like and what it means to be there daily. The last
Yeah.
time there was such a war was in 1939. So again, look out for your friends, for your husbands, for your sons, for your brothers. Ask them. Ask them. "Mimakol beseder." And when you're talking to them before Shabbat or whatever, look into their eyes and say, "Do you need to go to therapy? Do you want to talk about it? Is it good? Are you good?" And pay attention, because we're gonna, not me, maybe also me, but everyone there, they're gonna need a lot of support in the next few years.
Hmm. That's awesome. Um, I'm going to make
And,
sure to have,
and you're
what's
you.
that?
And I'm
Yeah.
inviting you. I'm being careful here, but I saw your pictures, and I know what I read a lot. And if you're, your unit, and despite the fact that I think you're heroes, I invite you to register and to be a part of it, and to use your platform like you just did in the last 10 minutes, which I wasn't sure you did. So I'm allowing myself to invite you, because I think you deserve it, and your unit, and hopefully, um, yeah.
Well, I really appreciate that, brother. I really do. And thank you so much for your time, sharing your heart with us here. I'm going to make sure in the description below, friends, if you're listening and you got this far, make sure to go there. You will have all the links to this wonderful work that Yuda is a part of. And I want you to make sure you follow him on social media as well. That's where both my wife and I actually got to hear you and got exposed to your just very honest way of just saying, this is what we are, this is what we're about. And it was, for me, every soldier that I saw take to social media in a positive way, because we've had morons, especially more the younger generation, you know, posting things that just shouldn't be posted. Things are disrespectful. That's not uh, in an honorable way of the military and how we conduct ourselves. So you can find that as well, of course, online. But I'm talking about people like Yehuda, people like Yair Bijab. You're talking about, I mean, it's just a long list of people that have done it in an honorable way, and it's us opening our experience to you and opening our lives to you, because I know that what we're doing is not easy for us, especially if you're in the special forces community. We don't ever share what we're doing, ever. It's like the big taboo. And I'm very grateful for my team to be allowing me to expose what we can show, in order to, again, the whole purpose is not to try to draw attention to ourselves, but rather to let you have an insight into what we go through, what we experience. And this issue of fighting against PTS after the war and after everything's said and done, is going to be one of the biggest battles besides fighting this war that we've fought in now. And thank you, brother, for being a part of one of the organizations out there that's helping bring these warriors back to life, bring them back to normalcy. And I wish you much success with that initiative, brother.
Thank you. Your words mean a lot, and same to you. I just using your platform for everything. I wish you to continue to giving, even this last hour. It gives me a lot of strength and hope, really. And I'm so honored to be, you know, sometimes I say, who wants to hear what you have to say? Like I have, I'm celebrating 1,200 people on my Instagram, I'm doing a celebration in the falafel tomorrow. We're doing a famous, but I want to
That's
first of all,
awesome.
I want to thank you for having me, and more than that, I want to thank you for it's you're doing good stuff, and I like I said, I saw that picture of you in your Instagram with that proud warrior, that
Mm,
David Amelech, and I feel it in every sentence, and I see it with those two flags. So continue the good
mm,
work, Be'emet. And if you go back to the army, Lech bekochecha v'toshea et Israel, I think that the Jewish people will continue with it's an amazing, amazing tenacity to thrive and to survive. And we will continue to sing the Chadodi and the Tikva, also because of people like you and your story, which is amazing. So thank you, Achi, Be'emet.
thank
And
you, brother.
hopefully we'll see you on live and real in person soon.
Yes.
So,
Bezrat
Toda.
Hashem, brother. Bezrat
Amen.
Hashem. Well, brother, thank you so much for this interview. Friends, if you got this far, make sure to like, subscribe, share this interview because, again, it's not going to get to the masses by itself. The algorithms do not like to support real stories. They like to share things about, I don't know, cats and fashion and, things that really don't mean anything. And you just got to hear us share our heart here in a very real way in doing what many of you say, well, why don't you veterans just tell us, about yourselves? We did it. We do it painfully. We do it. We try to really be honest and bear our truth and share that. And so the least you can do is just share this testimony of Yehuda and get it out to as many people to hear a real honest truth from someone on the front lines of this war against extremism, against terrorists, against jihadists, radicals. And that's what we're up against, guys. And that's really the bottom line. So thank you for listening. And may you have a blessed rest of your week. Shalom from Israel.
Toda.